You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 298, Peace Central's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I'm joined by executive video, audio producer, engineer, the guy who makes this sound passable on live video today, we think, we hope, fingers crossed, Mr. Zach Burcham, and my forever co-host, Mr. Dakota Davis. How are we doing today?
Today's episode features Mike Schembre.
Schembre.
I knew it was an A. Man, I got it wrong.
You're all right, man. All right.
All right. Mike is the owner of the Blue River Taphouse, which is a new tap house that just opened here in Newcastle, Indiana. We're going to be talking to Mike about his idea for the tap house, his history in the beer industry, the types of beer that they offer, and then at the very end of the show, we're going to be talking to him about the future of the Blue River Taphouse. So make sure you stick around until the very end. You don't want to miss it. Jeremiah's laughing.
I just got a secret Snapchat message where it's like a dial 911 with somebody just asking me for advice on a product I've never used in my life ever. Do not text me with your cannabis questions because I literally am 39 years old and I am the last person you would ever want to ask. I'm here drinking with Mike, but the other product I've never been a part of, so I don't know. Check. Don't use me as your phone a friend.
Oh boy!
This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you, other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. Oh,
that's right.
Like we're gonna learn how to pronounce Schembre.
Schembre. That's how you. I forgot you had your phonetically spelled cheat code over there.
I do. I
could have looked at that. Embarrassing moment. It's all right.
Good. So
Patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty. That's where you can go to support the show on a monthly basis. We just got done with a 20-minute bonus episode. If you sign up at Patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty, you get 20 minutes to 30-minute bonus episode every week with the guests. That's where we make them sit through and suffer through us talking about what we've done since the last episode in our personal lives. We also offer you show notes before the show starts. You get access to a Facebook group, and sometimes we send you little gifts in the mail just whenever we feel like it. There's no real promises, but we've sent quite a few gifts to every Patreon member. And if you get $50 or more a month to the show, you get a shout out at the front of every episode. And those folks are Mr. Jonathan Phillips, City Council District Number 2 candidate. He could probably use some donations, and he's also selling T-shirts. Mr. Anthony Meyer, who is trucking his goods across the country and keeping America going. And then Miss Christy Avery from all the way in Fort Wayne, our favorite Norwich dealer in the continental United States.
I think we're going to call this week's episode of Patreon, I Want to Check You for Ticks.
That's it. Yeah, that'd probably be a good title.
I think that's going to be the title. That's the big plan. All right, so let's talk to our guest Mike here. We have talked about on this show. We've been in existence since 2017, and Corey Murphy, the economic development CEO, king guru of the town, has told us that we are the largest city in the state of Indiana that did not have a tap house or a brewery.
Yes.
So how did he woo you? How did the Blue River Taphouse come to be?
Well, it was a few years of definitely talk. I mean, well over 2 years of talk. I was a sales rep for a distributor in Indianapolis, and I worked with a couple of local bars downtown, and Primo and Twin Lions, doing the craft beer and that side. And we always talked about the population of Newcastle and how, I mean, they do a great job at both those locations, but there's just no brewery or tap house. And, the next closest place you can go to is either Richmond or Muncie, or you get out to LaPel, Anderson, or Indianapolis. So there's this big, 30-mile void around the Newcastle area. And every little town in Indiana, there's stuff popping up. So it made sense to put something together. The demographics fit. There's tons of people that travel through here from Ohio, Indiana, Indianapolis, or the major fairway here through the town. So, we talked about it probably literally 4 years ago. We started talking about it. And then the opportunity came over the last couple of years. And, so I started to do a business plan and a pro forma for downtown, and just looking at the demographics and figure out what it would take for me to financially to do a tap house down here. And, finally put this stuff together and, approached Corey Murphy about it. And, and he was gung ho, super, super pro for, obviously the development of downtown, but super pro for something like what we're trying to do and to draw people into downtown. So,
and the part of this that's fascinating to me is that you're not a native to Henry County.
No.
You identified a need here in the community and moved to the town and said, I'm going to bet on Newcastle, bet on downtown, bet on yourself, and come here and make something happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. I married my wife a few years back, and we decided we wanted to go out into the country. And I've got family that lives out here in Newcastle, been out here for about 14 years. And, we've finally found the kind of our dream home out in the country, very few neighbors, remote, quiet, and it's just peaceful on that side. And it's it was just kind of the stars aligned. And so we found the house that was right. And it's found the building was right, found the right person, to get the building from. And the business plan kind of came together, and it just kind of all kind of floated right together. And then we became a huge part of Newcastle, and I, look forward to being more a part of the town.
So you mentioned working with Primo and Twin Lions and stuff in your past gig.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, your history in the craft beer world.
Oh, well, I've been in and around the craft beer my whole life. My family's been in the distributor side. My family was the first beer distributorship in Indiana after Prohibition. I
don't think I've said this on the show. I'm originally from New York State, but my second grade basketball team was sponsored by Capione Beer Distributors in Messina, New York. That was our.
That's awesome. I love that.
We were Capione Distributors. Was the name of our basketball league?
Cool.
Yes,
it's hilarious.
Embracing. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So my family's been in that side. So I was born and raised in it. I'd get off of school and I'd go visit my dad down at his warehouse, and he'd be like, okay, I'd be out there sweeping the floors and sweeping the parking lot and picking up rubber bands, whatever, he wanted me to do when I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. But like I said, I've been in that industry for a long time. So I've been in it 20-ish years right now, and had a place in Kokomo back in 2001, 2008. Closed it down. I moved to the Pacific Northwest, Washington State, Oregon. Was in the craft beer industry out there in Seattle, Olympia, Vancouver.
Is that where you guys learned how to label bathrooms?
Actually, that's where that came from. So I worked for a brewery out there when I got out there, out on the coast of Oregon. I worked for Rogue Brewing out there at Bayfront Brewery. And, I loved what their concept was. They did that in their bathroom in there. They did hops and barley.
Right.
So, it was just it's kind of fun in one sense, because you get to watch people stop and they're they go to the bathroom.
Terrifying, Mike.
And they go, am I going to the right one? Am I going to the wrong one?
I still don't know if it's a trendy place where they're all unisex and you're just playing mind games with us.
We debated it on last week's Patreon.
That was our Patreon
episode.
last week, trying to decide, and we think that maybe hops was male, but we have zero confidence in that.
Well, I mean, there's I've heard multiple explanations. One's not probably appropriate for the show, on how the customers have explained the bathrooms on that, which is fun. It gives them a conversation. It gives them a little bit more topic. So for one thing, it gives them a topic to talk about why they're there, and it gets them off their phone. That's what we're about. Get people to socialize again on that side. But the hops, I put it as hops are bitter, malt is sweet. So when people ask,
that's what I said on last week's Patreon.
So
I can't believe that was right. I just totally pulled that out of my rear end.
That's exactly. I mean, that's really. So it could go one of two ways. Hops are an alpha hop, so it could be you're the alpha of the relationship, or you're the alpha person, or you're a guy, or whatever. Or
what if you're married to a very bitter woman, Dakota?
Well, that's where it comes into. So then you go, hey, honey, you're the hops, so then you can pinpoint her. So who's bitter, who's sweet? Is the guy sweet and the wife's bitter, or the guy's bitter and the wife's sweet? So it could go, you know what? We leave it open to that side. We live in a different world nowadays.
So there is no shame in the bathroom.
There is no shame, but it is comical to watch people kind of walk in, then all of a sudden backpedal out. Like, hold on, am I barley? Am I hops? Like,
you look inside because the way your bathrooms are set up is it's barn doors.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking for context clues to go, oh, well, is there a couch in there? I don't know where I'm supposed to
go. Yep. And so we wanted to make it fun. So those are one of the, the things we do in there, just, to add a different element, a little bit more of a just.
So it's a very thoughtful design to what you do.
Yeah.
So walking in, first impressions, I was there on your opening day.
Yep.
And it was an amazing opening day. You had people lined up 12 deep.
Yep.
And everybody wants to talk to you, and you were sweating and dying back behind the bar.
Yep.
Doing the best
Loving
you could.
it.
And you recognized me from the credit card game, and I said, don't worry about a conversation now. It's fine. You got to make some money tonight. But you've set up a very community-friendly environment where you've got big tables that are shared tables.
Yep.
And then a few conversation spaces. It looked like you had a bunch of different table games, things to keep people there and to create an atmosphere where people are going to sit down and talk and enjoy themselves.
Absolutely. That's what we wanted. We wanted that open, that warm feel of environment. We wanted you to feel like when you came in, like it was a community table. So all the tables I made myself, and I wanted to make it a community, and that's why I've got little flyers on the table. Tables of community, get to know your neighbor. Let's change a few things that we do in life, and let's take a little breather and get to talking to other people versus getting off of our phones.
So you, sorry.
Go ahead, Dakota.
I was going to say, you mentioned you started thinking about this 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about when you decided to choose the building that you're in.
Yeah.
What that whole process looked like, and just tell us a little bit about the building itself.
Well, it's actually, I looked at multiple buildings downtown Newcastle, and there's a lot that fit, and some that work, some were too big, some it just and then I talked to my Kara at FC Tucker, which is FC Tucker's been just absolutely phenomenal to work with. And
they're on the other side of the wall from y'all.
Yep, they're on. I can knock on the wall or on the ceiling and say hi to them, but they're huge supporters of us. And I went to talk to Kara about almost 2 years ago about that building, and it's like, man, I don't know, it's just not big enough. And then it's like, but I also I didn't want a huge 10,000 square foot environment. I need it close and personable. And so then I was like backed away from it a little bit, looked at a couple other buildings, and I came back to that one and talked to Kara about it, and we sat down and we came to a deal on that building, and it worked out well on that side. Now you got to realize that building, when you walk in now, you see it is all finished, but when we took it over, it was full. The wall was 2x4 and busted up brick on one side and 2x4 ceilings and plywood floors. It was nothing. It was a blank canvas. So there was no electrical, no plumbing running through. There was no heating and cooling. There was no bathroom set up. So, it was setting up that design. So once I did that, I spent a better part of a month in there with a big box of kids' chalk, and literally was drawing out on the floor.
Practicing laying out the space.
I was laying out the space and measuring it out, making sure my dimensions are right, make sure I got room for this, making sure I can have room for railing, make sure I have room for people to walk around. And I moved that bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different places, and I drew out that whole bar in 5 different places before I finally settled on where it was at.
So in your decisions, I guess you have to decide what kind of a kitchen you want to have. By law, you have to have certain food offerings.
Correct.
So, and that makes a difference as to what kind of a footprint you have to tick the legality boxes.
Yep. So that was definitely a thought process. Was the food. I didn't want to get into this huge food industry and have deep fryers and all that. And people that have been in the restaurant industry really understand there's a lot to having a full kitchen in there, and there's a reason why I don't. I also want to work with local community and local places to have food come in, food trucks, primo to have delivery coming down. Anything that you want to do, you can bring in. So then the hot dog side came from an idea that I had from an account that I used to deal with out in Tacoma, Washington. And, he did a great job. He was all about craft beer, and he was all about just really good hot dogs and different types of ingredients, but fresh. And, he did really well. He just expanded every year that I was part of his account. And just like, man, this is a great concept. People love it, but just make sure that they're good. So I was going to say, if I do food, I'm going to do something it's not too complicated, but I want to make sure that it's high quality.
It's very straightforward, but it's a good product.
Yeah.
So you have hot dogs and you have different sauces on them. So everybody's been talking about your Nashville hot dog being legit.
It is legit. I wanted to make sure, I'm a huge, I love food, but I love spicy food. And so, every time I see that Nashville chicken sandwich or something, I get it. I'm like, I'm super disappointed. Super, because it's like, I love my Frank's Red Hot and I love my Tabasco, but that's not a Nashville hot. So I wanted that spice. And so I grow all my hot peppers and habaneros and scorpions and Carolina Reapers and Thai chili and Tabasco peppers. I grow a lot of peppers every year.
I think we know a guy that you would get along really well with. Darren
Comrade
Jacobs.
Yeah.
He brought some ghost peppers on the show.
One of the most traumatic episodes was the episode where I ate 2 ghost peppers on the air.
Ooh,
yeah.
Man,
Raw.
that is, I agree. That's a tough one.
That was rough.
It's even tough for me. I mean, eating them raw like that, and
He has stories about Nashville hot, about going to, is it Zaxby's?
Zaxby's
in Nashville? What's the name of the place?
No, the chicken place.
Yeah, the famous Nashville hot chicken tourist trap.
You carry the conversation. I'll have it. Give me 20 seconds.
Anyway, it's the famous Nashville hot chicken tourist trap, and he went down there with his family, ordered the hottest level,
right.
but he's a big pepperhead, like it sounds like you are.
Yep.
And they said, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Oh yeah," like getting really excited. And then they brought it out to him, and he took a bite, and he said he was like, "Are you serious?"
That's what I didn't want that when I created that.
Yeah, my mom and dad went on your opening day, and they texted me and
Hattie B's.
Hattie B's.
Yeah,
that's
their
it.
Midtown location. I left a mark on the sidewalk. I think we've covered that before.
Yep. And and anyway, my mom is a big spice person too, and she's got your Nashville hot dog, and she was like, "Oh, it was amazing! It was so spicy. It was great." And she's like, "Your dad took one bite and he couldn't do it," and so that's funny.
Well, I layer that so I do a special candied ghost peppers or candied habaneros. So I rotate between those. So I have a special recipe that I do, and I candy those up. And then my hot sauce, which is habaneros and scorpions and Carolina Reapers. And then I do what I call the devil's dust on top. So that is a conglomeration of all my hot peppers I grow with some special ingredients and seasoning stuff that dehydrated and pulsed on top. So it gets 3 layers of different types of spice on top. So it's enough that it catches on. Then I layer it with the top of my homemade barbecue sauce, which gives it that sweet side. So you get that sweet and spicy side. So
it sounds like the spicy is just very spicy.
It is. It's spicy.
Take your mic and just lift it up just a little bit.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay.
There
right
you
there?
go. That'll solve all your problems. And now Zach can adjust back down.
I think it would take a lot of barbecue salt, of sweet, to counterbalance that.
Well, I tell you what, I've had a lot. I mean, we've sold a lot of those Nashville hots just in this past week, and I've had everybody finish it, and everyone's like, the balance of that by itself really complements between the fresh baked breads that go with it and the condiments of the sweet barbecue sauce. Even the people that are like not too intense on hot stuff still end up finishing because the balance is right. And that's the key. I didn't want someone just to be blown out of their seat because it's just hot.
Yes.
The flavor and the heat.
So there's a restaurant here in town, a common breakfast spot. It's called Early Bird Diner in Newcastle. Yeah. They used to have a cook, the chef back there, used to make a homemade salsa that was just hot peppers, like you're saying, that he grew from his garden. And it was kind of like you had to ask for it.
Right.
Like, it wasn't on the menu. And I went there like the second time I'd ever been there. I went there with coworkers, and they told me to get some of Cecil's salsa. And I was like, okay, like I like spicy stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in between my mom and my dad, I guess. And they brought it out, and I just came in like a little ketchup cup, plastic cup, and I just dumped it on my omelet and took it in a bite, and it was just like whenever I ate the ghost pepper from Darren. It was just I was shut down the whole rest of the breakfast
or anything.
Couldn't eat the rest of the omelet. It was just totally
we're
wasted.
live on. Yeah, I ate two of them on the show. Dakota is completely useless. Once he gets to a certain point, he's
done.
gone on me, and we can't do live radio.
It's the same thing that happens with long tattoo sessions for me. I just kind of shut down, and like my good friend Zach is a tattoo artist, and he does a lot of my stuff. So he knows like whenever I stop talking or being conversational, like I've gotten to that
hit
point
the threshold.
yeah, I just shut down. He could keep going, but it would. My brain's just done.
You're mentally
checked out.
no longer there.
Checked out.
So, Mike, what I want to know from you is the tap house culture, because I think that's something new to the community and new to the audience here. In Newcastle, we've not had that before. It's probably a very foreign concept to hear, hey, come sit down, hang out, play board games, and order food from somebody else.
Right.
That's not what people think of.
It's not atypical, but it is atypical across the country, and that's what that's all the ideas that I've got in the tap room. We're all from my travels in the beer industry, really. I mean, I've spent a lot of time traveling the country and going to different breweries, and that concept is really embraced everywhere. And so I really wanted to bring that culture here to town and just get that camaraderie out there and just let people know it is okay to, bring food into another establishment. I'm not offended by that. Just all we ask is obviously, make a purchase.
Yeah.
Purchase from us on that side.
And you're a brewery, but you're not only hard alcohol. You're not only... Rather, I shouldn't say hard alcohol. You have zero hard alcohol.
Right.
You're not only alcoholic beverages. You have root beer. You have things for the entire family.
So we definitely we're catering towards. So we filed for our brewer's permit over 10 months ago. So we're still waiting for the state. Feds were really quick. Feds approved us. Bam, bam, bam. In less than 2 months, we got our approval from them. So we've been waiting for that 9.5 to 10.5 months. For the state to approve the paperwork on that side. And what that does is it allows us to have family friendly. I think that thought process that you can't take your kids into a place like that, but there's so many people that have kids that are responsible to be able to go out and still, have some food, a hot dog, pizza, have a beer, and still, spend family time together. And, it's
Applebee's is still a family restaurant. Right.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
The Elks Club has a bar, but it's still a family establishment.
Right.
Kids running around there, so there's no reason a place like yours that has in Indiana we have all of these weird rules, right? We have them around food. We say, hey, if you put this imaginary little barrier up around the bar, then this is the adult side and this is the kids side, right? Or the family side.
So I've already geared up towards that. I got the impenetrable kid wall up, which is an old hog fence that's up in there that kind of fits into our motif on that side, and just. There is no reason that you can't have that opportunity. I know some people are probably not as happy about that, but there's a lot of opportunity on that, and I think that sets us apart. We're not trying to be the next karaoke bar. We're not trying to be the next late night hangout, but we want to make sure that we have some good quality stuff and a great atmosphere for everybody to come and hang out.
Do you guys have the ability to go out on the sidewalks at all?
I got to talk to the city a little bit more on that. I believe yes. So I'd like to get a couple tables out in the front, and then over the year work on some stuff in the back.
You have a great space in the back.
Oh, great space in the back lot.
So on your opening day, you had the Kai's Creations had their food truck out there.
Yep.
Lots and lots of opportunities for it's almost like a garden back there.
Yep, it'd be a great beer garden.
Yeah.
It would. It'd make a great beer garden, Kara.
It sounds like a good space for someone to start growing some hot peppers.
My folks have 25 acres out here, and our garden out there is, I don't know how many acres, 3 acres of garden. So we grow everything underneath the sun.
See, Dakota, you can just buy stuff from him.
Yeah.
Dakota's got $200 jars of salsa at the end of the year because he's got.
I don't even grow salsa ingredients.
I pick on peppers. I probably pick 10, 15 bushels of peppers a year. At least.
My gosh. Holy cow.
Yeah, so, and we can.
You were doing that before you were selling them in a restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
No, he had to open a restaurant to get rid of his peppers.
Yeah. Get rid of some of the produce we grow. My family grows about 180 to 200 tomato plants, with about 6 rows that are 35, 40 foot long of green beans, okra, fruits and pears and peaches and pawpaws and persimmons and cherries and apples. And
wow, I love that. That's kind of my dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing that I love more than candied jalapenos. They call it cowboy candy.
Oh, yeah.
Is my favorite thing in the entire world. Put that over top of a block of cream cheese and eat it with crackers.
I do that with my candied habaneros and my ghost peppers, and I do that and I blend them up, and I find my favorite jelly that we make in house, and we make it at home. So we make all of our own jelly, and so do that and mix that stuff in it. Pour that over like a goat cheese or a cream cheese.
It's the best stuff ever.
So you said you're getting the permit for the tap house,
correct?
As a brewery. I'm going to ask this. This is not asking if it's just for the compliance, but you're a tap house. So,
correct.
But you're also going to do some brewing. Is that hey, we have to be a brewery to follow the rules of the law, and you want to have a beer or two that you do?
Absolutely.
Or yeah.
Absolutely.
Your passion really isn't to turn. I mean,
I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to be the next big Sun King. Those guys do it well, and it's harder and harder nowadays. We got well over 180 breweries in Indiana right now. We've got over 80 different breweries applying for permits right now in the state of Indiana. So we'll hit 250 to 300 breweries in the state of Indiana.
Because we've actually started to lose some. Daredevil's gone away. We've started to lose some breweries.
Yeah, we thin them out, but they as one drops, two more come in. One drops, two more come in. So, and I'm not trying to be that. I mean, I'm not trying to take over that side. I want to have that option and grow. And I want to work with home brewers also on that side. So once I get my system dialed in, I'd love to work with the Homebrew Association in this town in Muncie. There's a big gathering of those people that always meet up at a brewery called Northern Tropics.
No, your brewery, is it downstairs?
It'll be downstairs. Yep. I don't have everything set up yet, so it will be downstairs. I'm going to be just a single barrel right now that I'm doing, so that's 15 gallons at a time. So do that, and then I got to brew a few batches a year, and then be able to put them on. But have some guest brewers that come in and want to do some stuff. I've got a lot of options, a lot of ideas that I want to do on that side with the brewers and people.
So how many beers can you offer at a time? What's your tap capacity?
Well, right now, technically, I have 16 draft lines. I have 2 of them that I'm still working and waiting on a local winery to do some kegging on wine. So I set up some lines specifically for wine on draft.
And how many have Bud Light?
0. I have 0 Bud Light on tap. I have 0 Bud Light in cans.
So you don't have any
by
domestics,
design,
though, right? You don't
no
have
domestics.
Any domestics.
No.
Yeah.
So our focus is independent breweries. That is my real focus in Indiana, is independently owned breweries, and that's why I do a lot of work. Like today, I'm driving around Indianapolis. I'm meeting these breweries that don't have distributors and don't do any distro, but I make contacts as I've been in the industry.
You're building your own distribution.
Building my own distribution and making this an outlet.
And that's legal for them to do.
Absolutely, 100%.
Because Indiana alcohol laws go back 100 and some years, and this is our previous guest, Brad Klopfenstein, and
yep.
we've had these conversations in his past 2 appearances on this show. Some things have to be sold through regulated groups. Some things have to come through distributors. Other things, breweries are able to have commerce themselves.
Right. Yep. So yeah, breweries in Indiana, if they're not with a distributor, they have every right to self-distro and sell to whoever they would like.
So tell me a little bit about how you're picking the beers that are on tap. Do you have some kind of specific formula of I want so many lagers or IPAs or stouts or dark beers or whatever?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm definitely looking to differentiate my draft lines. I don't want them all cannibalized by one style. I like to be able to show a variety of different styles out there. So I've had Dunkels on. I've got a couple other different Belgian beers on that are coming in that I just picked up today.
You had a couple of stouts on when I was there.
So I got big barrel aged, bourbon barrel aged stouts. I got a peanut butter porter on. A couple different variations of IPAs. I opened up with 4 different IPAs. Try to change up because you got West Coast style. You got what they consider Midwest style. You got hazy New England styles, and you got double IPA. So I try to change that up and have a little variety on there for everybody on that side. But blonde ales and wheats and Hefeweizen. So I really want to have, multiple different styles. I picked up a Rausch beer today, which I'm not sure what people know about Rausch beers, but it's a nice smoky beer. So, they're not over the top, but sometimes they can be really, really smoky.
Yeah.
but I think they complement food also. That complements my food that we're doing. It complements the hot dog side.
That makes sense.
And then there's
Warsteiner.
the entire seltzer world as well.
Yes. Oh, that's a whole nother world. Which we do have definitely some seltzers in there. Which one of my favorite seltzers in the country. It really is a little brewery out of Wisconsin called Untitled Art. It's not really little anymore. It's huge, and they do 100% real fruit in their seltzers, and they're not just like the streamlined seltzers that are out there on the market. They're a little bit bolder, a lot more flavor going to them. So, those are the things I want to showcase, is that there's other options out there on that side, especially, your Pilsners and lagers. I think those are a great staple that you need to have on draft, and you need to have an option out there for the people that drink domestics, which there's nothing wrong with domestics, but I want to show them that there's other opportunities out there in the local side and supporting local.
So trying to meet people where they are, they come in and they say, hey, I want the equivalent of a Budweiser or a Bud Light. You say, hey, I have a Pilsner you should try so that you can have something that you're familiar with.
Right, absolutely.
Just like what we did last week when we talked with Ben about coffee. It's, hey, where are you at, and what do you understand? What's your palate like at this point?
Right, absolutely. And that's why we do bar service. I want people to come up to the bar. I want them to have a one-on-one action with me or whoever's working behind the counter. That way that we can, as I always say, prescribe the right medicine for those people that come in and make sure that they get what it is that they like. I'm happy to give you a sample of it and to make sure that it is, you like what you're drinking and enjoy it. Don't get stuck with something that you don't know anything about and you're like, oh man, this is horrible, I'm never coming back. I want you to make sure you have a good experience. So the experience starts with the customer service at the bar.
In the time that you've been open, how many times have you been asked if you have domestics?
I would say half a dozen, maybe. So it wasn't as high as I thought.
That's a lot less than I thought.
It was a lot lower than I expected, but this is week 1. So let's see what happens, as we grow. And I know that question, I'm prepared for that question when they come in. Because I know that is going to be something that has to overcome. But there's a lot of options out there. And I'm going to make sure that I have those options for the customers that come in.
So let's circle back to, we were talking about the hot dogs and stuff. Mm-hmm. You're focusing on the all beef, really high quality hot dogs inside. Tell us what types of hot dogs that you're currently offering. We touched on the Nashville hot, but I want to know about all the rest of them and like where you're sourcing the hot dogs. I know you said in the post that they're Hoosier all beef hot dogs and homemade buns. So I want to know more about it.
I'm working through a local purveyor. I'm working through Piazza Produce, and they work with a lot of independently owned food purveyors, which is why I really like these guys on that side. So they brought me multiple samples of hot dogs to try out, and I found one that I really like. That is a 1/4 pound, 100% all beef hot dog that really tastes well. It keeps up its structure of a hot dog. That's important, especially we're doing steamed hot dogs. And then there's a baker out of Indianapolis that is baking all of our buns fresh. So we've got our pretzel buns and some poppy seed buns. So I went through lots of different buns. And then I bought a bun steamer so that I can make sure those hot dog buns they go in they should be nice and steamed and warm and they just enjoyable on that side. So making sure that the freshest ingredients are going on top of them. So I'm making my own barbecue sauce, make my own hot sauce, but making sure whatever toppings I'm going on, they're fresh daily. So I don't need leftover stuff or dehydrated, rehydrated onions or anything like that.
Now, poppy seed buns, that means you have a good Chicago dog?
Our Chicago dog is outstanding. It is a meal. One hot dog is a meal for sure for most people. But it is an official, it is a Chicago dog, man. It is dynamite. And this week it was a little over half of my sales.
Put the little pickled peppers on there?
Oh, You get the sport peppers. You get 3 sport peppers on there. You get your pickle spear, your onions, your mustard, your celery salt. You get it's a big dog.
Sounds like I'm getting a Nashville dog and also a Chicago dog.
So remind
I won't
us
be able to finish the Nashville.
Which days you guys are actually open during the week?
We are open Wednesday through Sunday. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we're open from 11 until 9 p.m. And then Saturday we're open from 11 till 10.
So you're a lunch spot as well.
We are a lunch spot,
destination.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? We noticed just as the days progressed last week, our hot dog sales just kept on getting more and more. And people would come in like, man, I saw the pictures of it online, or someone told me I got to come in. So it just like, My numbers have exceeded on that side.
Incredibly walkable from the courthouse.
Yes.
And all the government employees. And
absolutely.
There's just you wouldn't realize how many people actually work downtown.
There's a lot.
Until you open a hot dog stand up across the street from the county courthouse.
That's right. And they all come down.
That's awesome. Very good. Christy Avery says these are some Young Me sounded hot dogs.
What dogs are you using the pretzel buns on?
I'm doing that we kind of set it up for all the hot dogs at this point, except for the Chicago dog.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. But by request, you can change up anything, obviously. But the pretzel buns, I was real hesitant when they brought, because I'm not a huge pretzel bun fan, because sometimes they're a little bit too firm, and if you get that pretzel bun burger and sometimes you bite into it and your burger goes out the back end and you start crying and I lost my burger and all that. I didn't want that. And then I tried these. I go, these are fantastic. These are unbelievable, and they're soft, and they marry up to the hot dog. Super.
I wondered about that, like the pretzel versus a brioche bun or something. Right. Yeah.
No, they're really nice and soft and steamed buns. So they're not super chewy, but the flavor on them is dynamite.
So you're talking about your hot dog sales and stuff going up since you've been open, and honestly, you saying 6 domestic requests has shocked me.
Right.
So I want to know more about what the community response has been since you've been open. I know it hasn't been that long, but
the response has been great. I mean, everybody comes in, they're just super, super happy, and the number one comment we get is people come in and they're like, I'm so happy you opened up a place like this. We so needed it in this town. We needed another.
Drive into Rushville.
Exactly. They're like, otherwise I got to drive to
Greenfield.
Muncie, Richmond, Rushville. I got to drive to Greentown. I got to drive 45 minutes. Then I go there. I'm like, well, I can only have one beer, and now I can drive 5 minutes, or I can walk. So many people come in and they're like, oh, I live walking distance from here. I mean, I live right down the street here. I live right down the street here. And so that's great to hear. So I give them the option, and they're like, that way I don't have to drive anywhere and do that. So people are happy to have something within 15 minutes of their house of driving or walking. So the response from the consumers out there has been absolutely outstanding.
Now, setting the tone, though, it is not a sports bar.
Correct.
The only TV you have is the menu on it.
That's right. And that's the best sports you can watch right there. The beer, the rotation of the beer, and keeping up with what's going on, what's coming up, what's on deck.
You have gamified it a little bit too.
Yes,
where you can there's an app you download, and then you put your reviews in. And
if you join Untapped, so it's a beer social media that's nationally known. Yeah. So it'll inform you when we tap something new, what's coming up on deck, what draft we put up. And then, then we can offer rewards to those people. If, you come in and check in so many times, we can offer you gifts on that side. So, and it reaches out to Cincinnati. It reaches to Indianapolis. It's my radius that I've got on that. So it really reaches about almost 60,000 people. That's a great market.
That's really cool.
So you can have a certain beer on tap, and it will drag some beer nerd in.
Absolutely.
How many times has this guy named Chip been in?
Yep.
That's pretty funny. Because I was about to send Chip a picture of my beer and see if he'd had it.
I didn't realize Untapped could do it. Untapped's a big deal. Like my brother logs all of that's how beer nerds keep track of what they're drinking.
I started on it a long time ago, and it's a great way that you can collect badges and all that side, but you can keep a log of all the beers you've ever tried. So beer geeks like me, love it because I've tried so many beers,
and it helps when you go to the doctor's office and say, how many beers have you had?
And like, hold on a second, let me pull my Untapped app.
You can check it and go, I've had 32 this week.
Yeah. But it really allows people to keep a track of what it is they tried, and do they like it or do they not? But it also allows them to find those beers that are oddities that they can't get in their hometown or out here this far away. And that's kind of what I want to create, is a little bit more of a destination. That's why I'm driving around picking up the beer I'm picking up.
Yeah, I whenever I was really big into craft beer, I was on Untapped a lot. And I just got on there not too long ago, and it just made me sad because I saw all the Norris English pub beers that I had logged, and they since
they're no longer with us.
They're no longer with us, and that was like my favorite spot on the planet to go. So, yeah, it is. You win some, you lose some. It's the way of
scenes of life, man.
Yep.
Blackacre's gone an indie on me, so I know how it goes. 10 years ago, I spent a lot of time there. So That's the
Sad
way.
to see those guys go. They're a good group of guys.
Yeah. And one of my life changes, but I used to spend quite a bit of time down at over in Greenfield at the Wooden Bear. And, and one of the coolest things they ever did, and where I was exposed to that culture of, hey, here's all the menus for the places in town, just order what you want and they'll bring it to you.
Yep.
That is essentially you're setting up a food court and everybody can just drink your beer. It's a brilliant business model.
Well, it also helps, and that's why focus on that local side. So if you can create a circle of local people that you can work together with, they will all survive. So it's that triangle of working with 2 or 3 other local purveyors on that side, and you talk about supporting local. That's the best way to support local. Yeah.
So the last bullet point here is where you see the future of the Blue River Taphouse going. But we already talked about you're going to be brewing some beer. You're just waiting on the state of Indiana so that it can become family friendly. Correct. But anything else we should know about on that side?
On that side, no. I mean, I think we covered most of the topics of where we want to go on that side. Be some other expansions, hopefully, outside seating on that side. But, I do some working with the local home brewers and stuff on that. Right now,
how difficult is it to get to where you are? Let's say the 2A license. Is that a horrific process to open to? Because I would imagine that it's good for your business to have more things like this build and come around, right? More restaurants,
absolutely.
More bars.
Absolutely.
So if you're the only bar in, I know there's 3 now, right? 3 or 4 downtown bars. The Back Porch, you guys, Primo, the Twin Lions, which is a little bit different. But as you start to develop a bar district of sorts, are there big barriers to entry to continue to grow that and to attract clientele?
No, I think the more the merrier on that side, for sure. I've always said that. I think, people think that, people come in and do this. And I've done this before in a downtown, when I was downtown Kokomo. People all of a sudden get this perception like, oh, they're going to be mad that you open up doing this and mad you're bringing this up. And it's like, no, it's good because we give more reason for them to come downtown.
Yep.
Give them a reason, so that way they don't drive out of town and spend their money. Keep that money local on that side. So I think the more the merrier, for sure on that side.
Yep. The events like Newcastle on Tap that I know you got to be a part of back in, I guess it was just last month in March.
Yeah.
Early March was spectacular.
Yes.
And I think you guys were well received there as well.
Oh yeah. The consumer that came by and sampled beer they were phenomenal. And everybody was like, I can't wait. The number one question then was like, when are you going to open? And at that time, it's like, I don't know. Trust me, I wanted to open. We originally were hoping like January. That was our plan, was January, thinking, okay, February is going to be the worst case scenario. But, things just happen and, you got to roll with the punches. We rolled with the punches for multiple months. But they were all good. There's things happen for a reason on that side. But like I said, people have just been superb in town and super supportive.
Very good.
I love to hear it. I don't think I have any more questions, to be honest. But I'm genuinely excited that you've opened up. It's something that we've been talking about on this show for 6 years, needing a tap house or a brewery.
I'm just so excited that he's right outside that door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Stumbling distance right there.
I told Mike, he's like, where's the studio? I'm like, I'm literally your neighbor.
Yeah. Yep.
I think we're 11:02 and he's 11:20 or something. It's
about a minute and a half walk.
Yeah, depending if there's traffic coming across Broad Street.
He was sitting here, ran to get beverages, and was back in like under 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
it's perfect.
Zach, do you have any final thoughts for us?
No, I, and it's it's probably a petty thing. It's awesome that you're from Noblesville and you moved here, because everybody seems to want to go the other way. And I honestly don't get it. I kind of like small town life.
I love it.
And so I'm like, yes, like we captured one back. Like we got an offset of all these people I know that have moved to Hamilton County. It's cool. Like the location's awesome. It is cool to see another business downtown, and one that people have literally been clamoring for. And it'll be cool if they ever get going on the state side to get the brewing license going. Because I even thought, like, it'd be cool just the thought of a local person, like you could have a little showdown of local brewers and have them bring in their stuff, and then just, if somebody wins, brew their beer, and they get to have their beer at the local tap house.
That is definitely a thought that is already
like a potential thing, and just like there could be some really cool creations come out of that, and how cool would it be for those people? And then my brother, I don't drink, but people who listen to the show know my brother is a beer aficionado, and he's brewed his own stuff. And so anytime that like the more, especially this town was kind of like without, if you can get little places for people to find that stuff, and if you're plugged in, you can go track down the oddball beers so that people aren't having to drive all over the state of Indiana to find stuff. I've been sitting on beer searches. I don't even know what I'm looking for. I just get told to look for a certain color label or whatever to find it. And you can find that stuff, and that's great. So just, it's cool to see downtown get another business. I know my mom's already been by there, and I'll probably try and get by there in the next couple of days and see what's going on. But welcome.
You will be there.
There we go. All right, so if people want to follow on social media, if there's anything we left out, how do they get in touch?
Just check us out on Facebook or Instagram at Blue River Taphouse. Just created a website, so it's bluerivertaphouse.com. So check us out on that side. But we'll keep any updates on both of those social media main ones, that Instagram and Facebook right now. Anything new and exciting that's coming up with us, check us out on there, and look forward to meeting everybody.
You're open 5 days a week, but working 7 days a week, running around gathering beer.
No rest for the weary, man.
That's awesome.
But I got to make sure these customers get what they want, and they want something special, so I want to make sure I get it to them.
Yep. And we just talked about what's on tap. You also obviously have a bunch of different canned beers as well.
Lots.
So you've got a great selection.
Yep.
How many beers are available right now? If we were to say, are there 30 different choices, 25 different choices?
Oh, yeah, there's 30 different choices beer easy right now. I might be hitting closer to 40.
It's always going to be changing.
Always changing. You know, the stuff that I'm picking up, some of it's limited. I mean, I got Guggenheim House in there out of Indianapolis, which is a super sought-after brewery in the state of Indiana. And, you know, I mean, I might get a case of each style from them, and that's it. So, you know, when it's out, then I'll work on other things. I got Pax Verum in there. I mean, I've got.
Yep. You gave me the citrus IPA, the Great Day, and it was exactly what a West Coast beer should taste like.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Nice, crisp, and clean.
Took me right back to the San Francisco Bay Area.
Nice.
Instantly.
I'm glad I could take you on a trip.
Right back to Petaluma, California. All right, Dakota, you got anything else?
Don't really have anything to promote or anything, but just wanted to say thank you for coming on. I'm really excited, like I said, about this. As soon as I can get a babysitter or whichever comes first, the state of Indiana approving your brewer's license, or I get a babysitter for an evening.
Yeah, do we need to? So we spend a lot of time talking to state representatives and state senators. You want us to start calling some people up for you?
Hey, man, it doesn't hurt. I'm not going to say no.
Those in the listening area, give Corey Criswell a call. Let's get Mike's permit going. Yeah. Call up any of. We have 3 state reps and 1 state senator. So get
on out, Jeff Rotz, right now.
Yeah, Jeff, let's go. Mike Dakota wants to take his kid on date night, and he needs Jeff's help.
Yeah, that is absolutely the truth.
Very good.
Absolutely.
All right, don't make him go to Applebee's. I swear to God, he doesn't want to do it.
I'm an Applebee's regular. Okay,
for now.
They know.
For now,
they know. I want whatever they have from Sam Adams whenever I walk in.
All right. We are off on Thursday. Mike, thank God, negotiated Tuesday night, so we got to move it up this week. Check local listings. There will be a few Tuesday episodes between now and the end of May because of Speedway activities. Looking forward to our next episode Thursday of the following week. I think we're going to. It's the last one before the mini marathon.
Yes, Thursday, May 4th, we're having Travis Thompson, returning guests from TNT Endurance Sports. He's going to be coming in, and he's going to nerd out with Zach Burcham about the mini marathon as he kicks off the month of May series.
Very good. All right, audience, you got your call to action Thursday night. Hit up your state legislator. Let's get Mike his permit.
I have posted links to both of our to both Corey Criswell and to Jeff Ratz's official pages.
They're still trying to finalize a state budget and do sign-dine, but damn it, let's get Mike his permit.
Let's get this brewer permit going.
I heard very quickly to look up the links, so if you need the links, they're in the chat, so you can get their contact information.
That's how we get it done here at Boss Hog. All right. Thank you guys so very much. Mike, we are so thrilled you're here and looking forward to continuing to support you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate everything.
All right. We'll see you all a week from Thursday.